Good morning, family. Good morning, family. Sorry for that interruption, but I wasn't aware that my phone was about to die because I was so aggrieved by a video that I watched earlier this morning. So let me say good morning to everybody. This is part two of my commentary regarding. Thank you so much, Keisha, for joining. This is really very, very important. So I'd urge everyone who stops by to watch this video to watch for as long as you can, because I'm not sure if the information is getting out there. And it's something that concerns every Jamaican in the diaspora, whether you're in the US, in the UK, or in Canada, wherever you are. Some monumental changes are about to take place that essentially could have the effect of robbing you of your voice in terms of what you think or what you say or what you believe about your home country, Jamaica. So thank you so much for logging on. I'm just, in my own way, trying to spread information and spread news. All right, so I'm going to jump right into it. Thank you so much. Good morning, Keisha. Good morning, Diane Elizabeth Clark. Good morning, Devon Carty. Good morning, Chakuli Ranks. Thank you so much for logging in, you guys. And if you could share the video for me, because it's one of those, this is not about me. This is about spreading information that ultimately affects every member of the Jamaican diaspora, no matter where you are. Good morning, Neva Shillingford King. Good morning, Kim Ramsey. So this conversation is a rant. Bonafire, that's me, is mad as heck. You know what the word is. It's from a very iconic movie, Newsweek. I think that movie is about 30 years old. But I'm mad as heck about what's happening. Good morning, Coolie Ranks. What's happening in terms of changes that are being made to how the diaspora engages. Good morning, Paul Huxtable. How the diaspora engages with the government of Jamaica. Now, as I said in my earlier post, my understanding of diaspora is that it's an organization, a body that resides outside of the host or the home country. So wherever Jamaicans are gathered outside of Jamaica, they're collectively referred to as the diaspora. And of course, the diaspora, not just Jamaican, but the diaspora is very concerned and hands-on with what's happening in their home country, because many of them typically have family members or even children still in the diaspora. So we are very vocal about what's happening in Jamaica, and we want our concerns to be addressed. Prior to what's about to happen, there were various advisory boards set up, and there were 3 boards for the US, and that's where I'm going to concentrate because I'm in New York. So there are 3 boards, I think the Northeast and 2 other regions, and forgive me if I don't have all of the facts. This is why they call me Bonafire, because I'm passionate and I jump on board things as soon as it comes to my attention. Anyway, our board member, advisory board member for the Northeast, is a young lady by the name of Akeelia Lawrence Maitland. And let me say, Akeelia, and you probably don't even know what's going on. Akeelia is doing yeoman work. She's doing great work as the advisory board member by bringing to the attention of some of us in the diaspora, not everybody, which is why I want everyone who's logged in and watching to share this video, because it's important that the information gets out to as many people in the diaspora as possible, because what's about to happen is going to affect every single member in the diaspora, whether you're in the US, in Africa, Japan, China, wherever Jamaicans are. Let me jump to the crux of the matter, because I know people have to get to church, have to start cooking dinner. I do too, so let me just get on with it. Basically, the government of Jamaica, with the consent, I have to say, partial consent, let me just clarify, partial consent of the diaspora boards in the US have agreed to expand the relationship of the diaspora in terms of how it interacts with Jamaica. So they've come up with this proposal now to do away with the different regional diaspora boards and replace it with a global, let me just make sure, a global diaspora council. The premise of having a global diaspora council is to ensure that areas that are not necessarily represented by the current diaspora structure will now fall under that umbrella so that they can be represented and interact with the government of Jamaica. Sounds good so far, right? Yes, one would think so. But what's happening is in June of 2019, this year, the Diaspora Conference took place in Jamaica. 3 days before that conference took place, terms of reference, or TOR, as people in the know call it, were handed out to the diaspora heads, the regional heads, right? For them, and it was quite a lengthy document. Within that document, the structure of this new Global Diaspora Council was laid out. Now, the members of the diaspora did not have an opportunity to vote on that because the information was only given to the representatives for the different regions 3 days before the conference took place in Jamaica. So the representatives go to the conference and they vote on, I don't know what they voted on, because I don't even know if they had an opportunity to read everything that was in the terms of reference. So they come back from the conference and they actually sit down. Well, certainly Akeelia had an opportunity to sit down and read the terms of reference. And wait a minute, hold on a second. You're going to change the structure now. So you're going to get rid of the diaspora board and replace it with what's called a Global Diaspora Council, which will consist of 28 members. 14 of those members are government elected officials. Now, that number one right there sends up an immediate red flag to me, because anybody who knows anything about diaspora and how it should be organized, government's not really supposed to have any say in it. And I will say what nobody else is saying. The reason that governments are not supposed to have such an integral part in the running of diaspora is that it should not be partisan. So I'm casting aspersions. So whichever government is in power now puts this in place, that means that times to come, if I happen not to be a supporter of the government in power, or successive governments in power, you can understand what will happen to me as a diaspora member. My vote, my say, my participation will count for null and void. Now, the whole thing about diaspora is political, but it is non-partisan. What do I mean by that? Yes, diaspora is political because we can, through our body, the numbers of us that are in diaspora, because I believe the number of Jamaicans outside of Jamaica far outweighs the numbers of Jamaicans who are on the rock, so to speak. So we do have a very powerful lobbying voice. We can lobby for change. We may not be able to vote in Jamaica, but our influence can be felt and pressure can be brought to bear on any government, whether it's JLP or PNP, for change. But what this present government is ushering in is that government members, or not government members, members who are elected by the government will be sitting on a diaspora board. Now, how are those who are selected by the government, how are they going to know what members in the diaspora want? What are the concerns of those members if they don't live in those areas? I'm assuming that they might be living in those areas, but they will not have been elected by the people who they're supposed to be represented. You understand what I'm saying? You follow my drift? As a friend of mine used to say. Here's the rub now, people. November the 17th, which is 10 days from now. Today is November the 10th. November the 17th is the deadline by which people can nominate themselves or nominate other people to be considered, well, to be voted as a member of the Global Diaspora Council. Now, I'm not sure where that information is coming from because today is the first I've heard of that. So you have, if you want to nominate yourself or if you want to nominate someone else who you feel can represent the diaspora, then you have until November the 17th to nominate that person. And guess where you're going to nominate that person to? Not by any council in the diaspora, in the different diaspora regions, but no, you make that nomination to the website of the Secretary of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Are you as gobsmacked as I am? So it seems as though government is running the whole shebang show, caboodle, kit and caboodle too. Now, as a member of the diaspora, not a Jamaican, but I claim Jamaican heritage. As a member of the diaspora, I have a serious problem with that. And so did Akeelia Lawrence Maitland, who is the current member of the Northeast Diaspora Board. She's the current leader. I think there's a proper phrase for it, but I'll call her, she's the head of the Northeast Diaspora region. She is the one who has put a stymie and said, hold up. You are moving too fast on this because we did not have an opportunity to bring this particular change to our members in the Northeast region. And for that, Akeelia Lawrence has been vilified, and the Northeast diaspora, that means everyone in New York and in the other areas of the Northeast diaspora. I did have a list of it, but I don't have it now. So every one of us, we have been accused of being disingenuous and not knowing the facts and being partisan. So I mean, I don't think that word was mentioned, but reading between the lines, because I've heard it said that New York is PNP country. Now, you see, this is where we start slipping down a very slippery slope, because as I said before, diaspora is political, but it's not supposed to be partisan. Diaspora cannot be controlled by the host country. Diaspora, by its very definition, means it's outside of the host country. Therefore, rules and regulations and its activities cannot be controlled from within the country. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, I have I watched an hour-long video which was hosted by Leo Gilling, who is a former advisory board member. He's a former advisory board member. And the discussion on there was enlightening and illuminating. So there are two other boards, advisory boards in the US. And from my listening and comprehension of what I heard, it seems as though the Northeast diaspora, which is New York and the attached areas that fall under the Northeast, have decided that we want more time for consultation with our members, which means you and me in the diaspora. We are the members of the diaspora, to see if the members agree to the proposed changes, whereby the government will select 14 members and then 14 other members will be voted on in the diaspora. But the voting process is governed by the government of Jamaica. Don't forget that, all right? Through the website of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. All right. So also, it seems as though whichever members are selected to sit on this Global Diaspora Council will have limited power, or they have a say, but their recommendations are not guaranteed to be followed. So what's the point of voting for representation that's not effective? I just want to bring the facts to the diaspora because time is of the essence. Voting for the Global Diaspora Council will start electronic voting on the website of the the Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Ministry. Will take place from November 21st through December 15. Now, me personally, I'm not going to be a part of that shambles. because it's not representative, in my mind, of the diaspora. Akeelia is much more diplomatic. She's saying that however it goes down, diaspora must have a say on this new body that's coming into place. But by then, I think the horse has already gone through the gate. And I'm just wondering, what representation will diaspora members now have under this new regime that's taking place? This is my effort to bring the information to as many people in the diaspora as possible, because this will affect all of us. Yes, it's all well and good that as members of the diaspora, we want our country to succeed. I have to say congratulations. Right now, the economy of Jamaica is doing so well that the Jamaica Stock Exchange is outperforming any other stock exchange in its class. So much so that last Wednesday, the Jamaican flag was flying alongside the US flag at the Stock Exchange building in Wall Street. So kudos to the government of Jamaica for the good things that they're doing. But in terms of what's being proposed right now, Bonafide is as mad as hell. And it can't go so. So, for me personally, I know what I'm going to do, but I cannot advise what you should do. I can just give you the relevant and the pertinent information so that you can check out the facts for yourself and decide. Why was it that the other two regions in the US decided that they would oust Akeelia Lawrence Maitland as the Northeast Diaspora advisory board member? Because she said, you know what, why is this rush? Let us bring this information to our constituents, meaning you and I, the diaspora members, and let them decide. At least let them have an idea of what's proposed and what they will be voting for. Because to me, it seems as though government is having just a little too much involvement in diaspora business. And it seems as though the diaspora will get nothing in return. I've always said diaspora seems to be a cash cow for not just Jamaica, any diaspora. It's okay for us to send out money and to invest in the country, but when it comes to having a say, what's the phrase that you and I have heard so many times? Cha, them a foreigner, what them know? So there has to be representation, taxation with representation. Taxation without representation is a whole nother ball game. So if you want to nominate someone to serve on the Global Diaspora Council, you have until November 17th to do so. And you can either go to the Jamaica Information Service, or you can go to the website, and I have it right here. The website for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Actually, you go to the Jamaica Information Service, jis.gov.jm, and you'll see a tab that says Registration of Candidates. Registration of candidates is underway for Global Jamaica Council. Registration, I'm reading from the website now. Registration is underway for candidates to serve on the new Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. The GJDC, establishment of which was endorsed by delegates at the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference held in June, will replace the Jamaica Diaspora Advisory Board. It will be comprised of 28 members, 14 of whom will be elected from Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. So I'm not sure how those 14 are going to be broken down, right? Because you've got 3 different regions. Now, it doesn't say who the other 14, how they will be elected, right? But we know those 14 will be cherry-picked by the government of Jamaica. So I already see a problem with that. That means that you have 14 people, basically, who are going to endorse anything that the government says. And then the other 14 will be split between 3 different regions. So therefore, the diaspora voice is already being whittled away to nothing. I hope you can all wrap your heads around what I'm saying. Essentially, your voice is going to be taken away very soon, unless there are changes. Now, essentially, I'm not saying that the new Global Diaspora Conference is a bad thing. But what I'm saying is the representation from the diaspora has to be of paramount importance. Our voice will not be silenced. Because guess what? It's our voices that has raised awareness of the issue of mining in cockpit country. Do you see a connection, people? Because I certainly do. Your voice counts. Make it be heard. If you want more information, I have posted the hour-long video that's hosted by Leo Gilling that has participation from Colleen Largy, former head of UJA, also Akeelia Lawrence Maitland, who is, in my mind, still the representative for the Northeast Diaspora Advisory Board, because she was voted on by members of the diaspora, and nobody can vote her out except those members of the diaspora. And also a Dr. Rupert Francis, who seems also to be a diaspora advisory board member, but I'm not sure which region he was on. And also there was a Reverend Bennett. I think he's maybe a current advisory board member or a past board member. But it seems as though because there was dissent from the Northeast diaspora in the personage of Akeelia Lawrence Maitland, who was able to get some information out to members of the diaspora and obviously got their feedback and said, you know what, on behalf of my members that I represent, I'm saying that there's something wrong with the format of what's proposed. And we want to look into it so that going forward, there's no issue in terms of the diaspora having a cohesive and an effective voice in terms of their own representation, which is not the case right now. So people, all I'm saying, start the discussion amongst yourselves. Reach out to other people in the diaspora. And maybe you want to select or nominate someone to serve on this Global Diaspora Council. But for me, I mean, I will tell you what my opinion is, which is my opinion, and I'm not encouraging anybody to do the same. I would not be a part of this process because to me, taxation without representation is dictatorship, right? Yes, I said it, dictatorship. All right. So for me, I'm looking to see if anybody's willing to form a diaspora group that is autonomous of the government of Jamaica, whichever government of Jamaica. Diaspora is supposed to row its own boat and hoe its own road without dictatorship from the government. All right. So that's the conclusion. Remember, nomination for the Global Diaspora Council. If you want to nominate someone, you have until November the 17th. 10 days. Sorry. 7 days. 7 days to nominate someone. And then election of that person will run from November 21st until December 15th. And it will be by electronic voting on the website of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Anyway, the reason I'm not even going to tell you all I will say is if you want more information, you can watch that video that I've posted on my page. It's an hour long, but trust me, it's an hour well spent because by the end of that hour, you know exactly everything that's going on. And I just want to say big up to Akeelia Lawrence Maitland because she's being vilified as a troublemaker, and she is not. She is fighting for the rights of people in the diaspora to have a voice and for that voice to be effective. So Akeelia Lawrence, if you were running for president, I would be your campaign manager because you're standing in the face of adversity. And also to Colleen Largy, also people who understand what's going on and are speaking it as it is, maybe in a much more diplomatic way than I am doing, but that's why my name, Bonafire. Before I go, condolences to the family of Sharon Burke. The news came in this morning, or maybe it was yesterday, that Sharon has made her transition. Very kind of hit me this morning to wake up to that news because Sharon has been fighting a valiant fight against cancer and she was brave enough to document that fight. So dance into love and light, Sharon. walk good, and make good duppy. Well, I know good duppy walking with you. That's my commentary today. Have a blessed Sunday, everybody.